Today I went to my very first cross-country meet with my new school. This is probably really just the first cross-country meet that I've been to ever.
In 1,000 feet, turn right onto Old Jamestown Road.
I've been to practice races at my old high school that I used to be at, and I've been to track meets now, but this is really the first.
Turn right onto Old Jamestown Road.
First big cross-country meet that I've been to. I had friends that went to this meet up in Florissant when I was a teenager, and I always heard that this was a really tough one, but
Continue for 2 miles.
Haven't ever been here. And so today I went to my very first, I forget the name of this invitational, but my very first cross-country meet at Sioux Passage Park in St. Louis County Park up here. And a lot of my AP Stats class is on the cross-country team. Shout out to you guys. They actually asked to be on the pod, so here's what they had to say about the race.
I'm feeling really Gucci today. This hill was challenging, but me and Graham pushed through that hill. We both medaled. I finished my race with only one spike on, and it was incredible. Graham got 34. I mean, it was just an awesome race today. Whole team's doing good. Whole squad's good. Mr. Baker's a great educator. I'm just feeling great today.
You know, I don't have much to add on. I think Enzo really touched on the points very effectively. Those hills were tall.
Thanks, guys. Shout out to you. It's great having you as students. But back to this. So I knew that I wanted to go support my students in their running. One thing that I kind of missed from being a high school teacher the last 6 years when I was in the middle school was just being able to go to kids' sporting events. Like, middle schoolers, they do sports also, but they don't as often do it at the school. It's a little less advertised and obvious. They're not really wearing their sports jerseys on game day, that kind of thing. And something that I have kind of missed is being able to integrate myself into that as a relationship builder. When the guys asked me to come to a race, and this is the only one up here where we lived, here I am, and it was a lot of fun. And then I found out that a cross-country meet, much like a track meet that I've really just found out within the last 2 years, cross-country meet it's like a running festival. And there's tents everywhere, and everyone's running around just talking to people, and it was actually really fun. So I went to see the runners at my new school, but there were multiple runners that I knew from my last school that had transitioned into high school, so I got to see them, and I ran into a family that we used to go to church with, and some other guy that I used to work with. His kid was running for a different school. So like, cross-country meets are really a place of community. It's really cool. Like, runners are...
You're back online. You should reach your destination by 5:57 p.m.
Terrific. I'm actually on the way to soccer games now. Today is the sports afternoon. So runners, I think runners are a different breed in the first place. I did not know that I was a runner until college, when I was in ROTC and the Marine Corps was like, hey, you're going to be a runner, and you're going to run with us 3 days a week, and we're going to make you puke, and we're going to yell at you while we do it until you become a hardened running machine, and then you will like it, and you will hoorah yourself through the run. Anyway, so that was my experience. Like, I played football in high school, and the cross country team was like on their practice would like run past us, and we would...
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Old Halls Ferry Road.
From a place of, I think now, naivety, we would just be like, why are you running for fun? Because, most sports, running is a punishment. So the idea that people would run like for fun or as their sport.
Take the second right onto Old Halls Ferry Road.
That is just not where I was in my mindset. But I learned, because
Continue
I had
for 3
to,
miles.
that I am a runner, and like my body like transformed from this kind of chunky football body into a leaner runner's body, and that just made me feel better about myself. I know some people hate running and other people feel really good about themselves when they play their own other sport, but becoming a runner and being in my own mind on a run and competing with myself in a lot of ways and becoming tougher mentally. Like, there were a lot of ways that being a football player toughened me mentally, to slog through things and learn how to throw my body at a guy that was way bigger than me, knowing it will hurt. Like, that's a whole other mental game also, that I learned in my 4 years of playing football. And that just reminds me, so one of my students, their dad, I went to school with, and they told me just today that they were talking about me with their dad recently, and he gave me this compliment of the fact that I never backed down and I always kept going or something like that. And that kind of was me as a football player. I am too slow to be like a receiver. Like, I have like a receiver's sized body, or a halfback sized body with none of the speed. So or a defensive back maybe also. So I had to play at linebacker, and even I wasn't really even fast enough really to be an outside linebacker. If I'm losing you on the football stuff, sorry. So I had to play in this position where normally guys were heavier and taller and oftentimes stronger than me. And so there was a lot that I had to learn about just like mental toughness and physical toughness going against those guys that were bigger than me and were going to crush me unless I was really good with my technique and my form. So that student said that their dad had said that, and I chuckled. And I told him, I said, the reason that your dad said that was because he was always bigger than me, and he knows that he hit me very hard multiple times, but I still showed up. And so that was just really funny. Like, that was the best compliment that he probably could have given me. Was that, because that is what I did in sports, and I think that aspect aided me when I became a runner also, and that's what I admire about running also is it just requires so much mental toughness if you're going to be really good at it, because there's a lot of research that they've done in the past 20 years or so about running and how cultures in I think like northern Mexico, like the Chaco Canyon or something like that, like they just like run like endurance marathons like every day. This is like what they do, and so they've done a lot of research into. There's a couple other cultures in the world like that, I think, that they just do ultra marathons just all the time, and so as people researched and disciplined themselves to become better ultra marathons, they've been studying these people and what they do with their feet and mentally, and it's like how they train their bodies and that kind of thing. And I forgot where I was going with that. But oh golly, yeah, I just lost that. So I admire runners. Oh, that's what it was. According to that research, in a lot of ways, humans developed as runners. Like when we were, quote, hunter-gatherers, when we were hunters, and before people started settling into cities, and before we had shotguns and really good bow and arrows to catch deer, we did this thing that some cultures still do, where a group of men, and maybe even women, I don't remember, they would run in like this pack, kind of like wolves, and in this pack they would kind of take turns
In
being
a quarter
the faster
mile,
one.
slight right onto Charbonnier Road.
They would take turns being the faster one or coming back to the pack, so that there was always somebody chasing down this deer or gazelle or whatever the thing is, so that there was always someone that was putting the pressure on this animal to run faster.
Make a slight
And,
right onto Charbonnier Road.
like, apparently humans are like one of the few species that can regulate their breathing separate than their running. So what you do is
In a quarter mile, turn left.
you make this animal just give itself a heart attack because it doesn't have time to slow down and rest, and that's just so fascinating. And that's why I think running's cool. And you know, there's so many cool things about other sports, but the topic of this podcast is running and my students, and we stopped talking about the students a long time ago. But to you runners out there, for the people that admire you and the people that think you're crazy, shout out to you.
Make a U-turn, then turn left onto Charbonnier Road.
Not doing that, Google Maps. Alright, so this is the end of the
In
podcast.
1,000 feet, turn left onto Keevan Lane.
We're here. This is the end of the podcast because the rules of Drive Time Diaries is it only happens while we're on the drive, and I am now to the next destination of the evening, the soccer games. My name's Chuck. I'm an educator with a new job and a new commute, and today's commute was actually from a school cross-country meet to that's actually up by my house, to soccer games up by my house. But thanks for listening. If you are on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or Spotify, please hit that subscribe button so I can see you there. If you really like this, send me a message. You can use that voice message on Spotify. You can catch me on Instagram at Drive Time Diary or Twitter at Chuck C. Baker. And I will see you on the next podcast. Take care driving.